So these artifacts are from a site called the 16th Century Site, and it's really important because it was an inbound Spanish vessel for the colonization of the New World, and there is not very many of that type of vessel.
Part of the issue on this is, what ship is this? I mean, we know the time period based on some of the artifacts, but that takes more than just the archaeology. This also takes archival research. There are a list of ships that came across each year that are in the Spanish archives of the Indies, have possibilities of actually identifying not only the ship's captain, but maybe some of the people on board and some of the cargo. So the next steps are really to go to the archives.
The cathedral nearby and the archive has been designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site for its very high cultural value. Security is very tight in the archives, which means we weren't actually allowed to film looking at documents in the consultation room. The documents are very old, very fragile, and have been taking care of these documents since the archive was created in 1785, so they just have a very strict lockdown on anything dealing with the physical documents. So we are starting our research here in the General Archives of the Indies in Seville with a theory about who we think may have been on the 16th century shipwreck, and this man is Diego de Mazariegos, and we know from a book published in 1916 that Diego was traveling from Spain to Cuba to take over his post as the new colonial governor of Cuba in 1555. So we know that the ship, the 16th century shipwreck, is from around 1555 because of certain maker's marks that have been found on the pewter dining ware, candlesticks, platters. We begin the research process with the portal for the Spanish archives, which is called Pares, and it's basically an online portal where you can search a lot of keywords. You can search by date, you can search by archive. Obviously we're focusing on the Archive of the Indies because that has the registers of ships going to and coming from the Americas. It really was an honor to be able to hold the 16th century, record of ships book in my hands. The Spanish is beautiful, the calligraphy is beautiful, but it's very difficult to read. So that's what we're planning on doing, the next months to a year, is trying to go through these records that we've pulled as being important and just going through those and seeing if we can find records of Diego's shipwreck, a shipwreck that was carrying a lot of pewter. Anything like that will get us a lot closer to finding the identity of the 16th century shipwreck.
So archival research matched with underwater archaeology is really what we use for our tools to identify the ship. We want to put a name on the ship. It's not just a 16th century shipwreck in Capcana Sanctuary. We'd like to know the exact name and get more history and tell that as part of the story why this is so important to our maritime heritage here in North America.